You're listening to Soap Dirt, the latest in television entertainment news.
In this video, we are going to talk about what's ahead for Thomas Forrester and Paris Buckingham and whether Hope Logan makes a move to steal Paris's man from her on her wedding day. This is Belinda from Soap Dirt, and we're going to dive in and talk about what's ahead on B&B. You'll remember Steffy Forrester was the catalyst for Thomas's departure to France with Douglas. Steffy wanted to make sure that that rift between Hope and Thomas widened and that it was permanent. I mean, granted, Steffy was legitimately concerned about her brother when she did what she did. She did not think his relationship with Hope was healthy for him. She didn't think Hope respected him, and that's why she wasn't committing. Steffy was also worried about Thomas's mental health and insisted at every turn that Hope was not the woman for him. But to be fair, aside from sisterly concern, we all know Steffy despises Hope, and this was an opportunity to screw her over. It was. I mean, Hope knew it too, and she raged at Steffy, but it was too late by then. Thomas and Douglas had already gotten on the plane and left. I mean, Steffy wasted no time. It was like she said no to the proposal. Steffy's like, get on the plane, same day. So absolutely, Steffy laid the groundwork for Thomas to go and carve out a new life for him and Douglas in France while he was working through the heartbreak of Hope rejecting his proposal for the second time. And yeah, Thomas went and did it. He made a new life. Time apart from Hope seemed to pull him out of that obsessive spell he was under with her, that and double rejection. And I will say it again, I feel pretty certain there's going to be a Thope reunion, but I do think they're going to drag this out, try to convince us that he and Paris will get there happily ever after. I mean, I'd be fine if Thomas and Paris did get a happy ending, but everything on B&B usually defaults to a Logan getting what she wants, and Hope still wants Thomas. So on a recent episode of Bold and the Beautiful, Thomas Ridge and Eric Forrester had a chat. 3 generations of Forrester men, which I love seeing, discussed Thomas's wedding plans while they were at the mansion. And that is where Thomas wants to get hitched. And it does seem to be coming soon. July sweeps ends July 24th. So we've got almost 2 weeks of episodes left if they are going to hold these nuptials during the big ratings blitz. I am certain Paris wants to get that wedding band on her finger sooner rather than later, since Hope is lurking around and eyeballing her fiance like he's a prime cut of steak, which he is, right? Not only did Thomas tell his dad and granddad that he's happy and looking forward to marrying Paris, he also told them that once they get hitched, they are heading back to Forrester International in Europe. And when Thomas said he's still worried about Hope, Ridge is like, meh, don't worry about it. She'll be fine. It was pretty funny. Ridge does not seem to give 2 shakes about what Hope wants or her happiness. And then taking it one step further, Thomas went over to Forrester and had this last talk with Hope. He had already made it crystal clear to Hope that they were done, capital letters DONE. That came after that third proposal, that test proposal to show her exactly why he can't be with her anymore. She cannot commit to him. She won't. And he also told her that as soon as they get married, he is heading back overseas with Paris and Douglas, where they have made a home and a life for themselves. Thomas also said some of the same things to her that Finn said, like, you're going to find somebody new, you're going to fall in love, you'll be happy. And he wants that for her. And then, she played nice and said she wants him to be happy too. There was this awkward, obligatory hug, and then he walked out on Hope, who was in tears. So are Douglas, Thomas, and Paris really leaving LA? Are we about to see them drop to recurring status or nothing at all? Well, I heard Diamond White is not sticking around, but there's no signs that Matt Atkinson is leaving the soap opera. I mean, if they were planning to write Thomas out, this would be the perfect way to do it, but I've not seen or heard anything about him leaving Bold and the Beautiful. So that means something else is afoot. But what? I am expecting big drama. If I were a betting woman, I would bet on something happening at Paris and Thomas's wedding. I do expect we're going to see them plan the ceremony for an imminent wedding happening in the next few weeks, maybe the next month. Meanwhile, as Thomas and Paris happily plan for the rest of their lives together, Hope Logan is going to continue to fall apart mentally and emotionally. Thomas feels like I think he has closure after their recent talks, but Hope, she is nowhere near closure. She feels alone, abandoned, frustrated, angry, a lot of overwhelming emotions. And in the midst of all that, she's still all hot and bothered over Finn, which is complicating everything. Finn is not going to have a fling with her. I don't see it. He adores his wife. He just reassured Steffy of that. They had that very intense, sincere moment where he recommitted to her. He is not prime to cheat. Not at all. A, he's not a cheater, and B, he is head over heels for Steffy. But I can totally see Hope spiraling, making a move on Finn, getting rejected, and then spiraling deeper. If Steffy finds out, she would absolutely flip out on her former stepsister. I do expect also Brooke Logan to be increasingly concerned about Hope, and Ridge being increasingly dismissive with words like, yeah, she'll be fine, while he's focused on his son's upcoming wedding. I am hoping to see Douglas as either the best man or the one walking Paris down the aisle. It would be sweet if Douglas did that, or maybe Ridge could be the best man, or Ridge could walk Paris down the little aisle at the house, or Eric. I do think we're going to see all the men involved, and it's at the wedding that I expect Hope to completely melt down and lose it. I mean, first of all, Hope shouldn't be at the wedding. She should not get an invitation to their wedding. That doesn't mean that she won't, or that she might just show up and crash because she's got open access to the Forrester mansion. I expect Hope to do one of two things. One, she may show up having some sort of migraine crisis / mental health spiral and just physically collapse at the wedding. I mean, naturally, that would stop the wedding in its tracks because Thomas would want to make sure that Hope is okay. And then he might play hero, swoop her up into his arms, rush her to the hospital, and then they decide they can't be apart because of this crisis. That'd be okay. That'd be all right. But what I'd really, really like to see, if they are going to go ahead and ruin Thomas and Paris's wedding, this is what I'd like to see. Hope shows up in a white dress, one that he designed for her, maybe one for that wedding a few years ago, remember? And for her to tell Thomas she's ready to marry him right then, right there on the spot. Please choose her. Say yes to marrying her. She will marry him today. Because that was the whole litmus test when he mock proposed at Eric's house the other day. He was just showing her she can't and won't say yes, can't and won't commit to him. But if Hope shows up dressed like a bride and begging for it to be their wedding day and for him to put his ring on her finger, could Thomas resist it? Could he say no? I don't think he could. Will Hope steal Paris's groom right out from under her? Either one of these things, either her collapsing at the wedding or appealing to him to walk away from the altar, those would be just straight from a page ripped out of Brooke Logan's man-stealing playbook. I'd like to see it happen. Let me know what you think.
Thank you for being a loyal listener. Follow us wherever you get your podcast, because you don't want to miss the next episode. Soap Dirt is on all the major podcast platforms, including Apple Podcast, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and more.